I know a lot of people are getting sick of tipping culture, so here's some of my favorite stories of times I was no-tipped as a server. Okay, so I'm serving these two girls, and one of them is vegetarian, so she's asking me about our vegetarian options. So I go through the whole menu with her, and I tell her everything that we can make vegetarian. But here's where it went wrong. She asked me about this one pasta we had that was vegetarian, and it's made with like a cream, buttery kind of sauce. And she asked me, can we make it with a red sauce instead? We don't have any sauce like that. Like, we can't, you know, whip up a new sauce, so you have to have the sauce that it comes with. She says to me that that's a problem because she really wants this pasta, but she doesn't like sauces that are too rich or creamy or buttery. Kind of direct her to some other things that she may prefer more. She's like, you know what, I'm just going to get this pasta with this sauce. Like, maybe I'll like it. You can try it for sure. Just let me know if you don't like it, because genuinely I want everyone to have a meal they enjoy. It's my job to do that, but you know, going out is kind of a privilege. It's expensive. So I'd like to do everything I can to make sure that you get some food that you like. So they both get their meals, and the girl's taken like a couple of bites of the pasta. So I come by and ask her like how it's tasting. She's like, yeah, it's good. Then every time I come back, she hasn't taken any more bites. She's only taken like those 2 bites originally. So I check on her again. I'm like, hey, is everything still all right here? And she's like, yeah, everything's so good. The friend finishes her meal, and I go to take her plate away, and I ask the girl with the pasta if she wants a box, because again, she still hasn't touched it. She says no. I just ask if they can get the bill. As I'm giving her the bill, the girl says, I actually didn't like that pasta at all. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Can we get you something else by chance? Says no, she's just really lost her appetite. They just want the bill. I actually end up getting my manager, and I tell them like, hey, I told them they probably won't like this pasta. They got it anyways. Just take it off the bill for them, because I still feel bad because they didn't get to have a meal and they're probably still hungry. And my manager's like, yeah, sure. So we take it off the bill, and I drop the bill off, and I go, hey, just let you know, I ended up actually taking the pasta off the bill. I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it. Hopefully you can find something that you'll like next time. And the girls are like, oh, thanks. I drop the machine down for her to pay. And without even hesitating, no hesitation, just goes, boom, no tip. Which again, like, I know everyone has their opinion on tipping, but like, in that situation, I don't think I did anything wrong. I warned her against getting the pasta that, you know, she probably wouldn't like. Then at the end of the day, when she didn't like it, I took it off the bill for her. Like, what more could you want from me? Next story, I was serving this couple, and the guy was being very overly friendly with me. He starts going on this tangent about how he has like a stomach ache, and he's like, what would you recommend to help for a stomach ache? Like, what can I drink? I'm like, I don't know, like a ginger ale maybe? Oh my god, yes, a ginger ale. That'll be perfect. Like, thank you so much. Turns to the girl he's with. He's like, isn't that so great? Isn't that so great she got that for me? Like, oh my god, she's the best. Like, you're the best. The girl's like giving me a total stink eye, and I'm kind of like, leave me out of this dispute. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, just the whole rest of the meal, he's like, oh, this is so good. Like, thank you so much. Like, blah, blah, blah. She's not saying anything to me. She's just like, it comes time for the bill. And for the first time, she pipes up and she's like, I'll take it. He's like, wow, that's really nice. He's like, thank you. Like, thank you. Thank you for treating me. And she's just like, mm-hmm. And she tilts the machine down so I can see it, looks me dead in the eye like this, and goes, and presses the no tip button like, girl, what did I do to you? Like, I swear on my life, I didn't flirt with this man. I was not making eyes with this man. Like, I did not want your man. Side note to anyone that ever goes on a date with their boyfriend or whatever, most likely your server does not want your man. Okay, they are working. Okay, last story. I was serving 2 girls, and they were looking through the menu and they couldn't really decide. They say to me, oh, I've tried this pasta before, but I want to try something new. I'm realizing these stories have like pasta in common for some reason. I go through the whole menu. I kind of give them like a tour of like what they might want. They're like, okay, you've given us a lot to think about. Like, just give us a minute. We're going to discuss. I come back. They're like, actually, we're just going to get the pasta. And I say to them, well, if it ain't broke. And they go, what? And I say, if it ain't broke. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they look very confused. They look at each other. They're like, awkward laugh, like, yeah, it's a saying, sorry. Before that, by the way, they were very chatty. Like, they were telling me all about like their shopping trip and everything. But after I said the whole if it ain't broke thing, they were just dead silent the whole time. The bill comes and no tip. As expected, whatever, I'll live. But I was talking about it with my friend afterwards, and she was like, I think they thought you were calling them broke. That was my response to them, that they were like, we'll get the pasta. And I'm like, you're broke. Girls, if you're watching this, I was not calling you broke. The saying, it just means if it isn't broken, then like it's good to go. I was complimenting your choice on choosing the pasta because you liked it before. So good job on choosing it again. Okay, that's basically all my stories for today. See you guys.
No lie, working at a hospital keep you busy, but it'll also keep you entertained, bitch. I done seen so much shit in the last 2 years that I've been working here. I remember one time I was on the surgery floor, right? And they had a psych patient down there that just got done having surgery. Now, when you have a psych patient, You got to take everything out the room. Nightstands, table stands, everything, bitch, the phone. So I had a room down on the surgery floor. I'm doing my room, and I just hear, I know security down there at the room and shit, but I just hear a lot of loud commotion and yelling and shit. So me being me, nosy, I stepped into the hallway like, and I just seen all the CNAs and nurses going to this one room, and which was the psych patient room, right? So I grabbed my garbage and act like I was finna go dump it because, her room right there by the soil utility closet. As I'm getting ready to walk past this lady room, I bullshit you not, one of the nurses, his ass came out the room, stumbled, and dropped everything. I'm talking about he dropped his work phone, his cell phone, his keys, all that shit. As he on the ground picking it up, he looking up at everybody like, look, black women crazy ain't got shit on white people crazy. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this lady? So I get to walking past her room. As I'm walking past her room, why she take her little IV thing, the little IV cord, and start wrapping it around her fucking neck? I said, what the fuck? Everybody just got to run in the room, try to save her ass. So the next day I had asked her CNA, because I know her CNA, she my friend, whatever, right? I asked her, I said, why did she take that IV cord and wrap it around her neck? You know what the lady said? The lady told her they taking everything else out the room, like I ain't got an IV in my arm that I can use to hurt myself with. Valid point.
Hello, get ready with me for work while I tell you guys some of the reasons I'm at risk of losing my job. So basically my job description is front end, so I can do anything. Like I can be a cashier, I can assist for the cashiers, I can check receipts at the door, I can fold clothes, I can be on the floor, I can do anything. But about 6 months ago, they realized I'm pretty fast at cashiering, so they offered me a position to just be a cashier, and you do get $1 extra. So now that I'm making the cashier pay, I do have to be behind the register for usually 8 hours a day, sometimes 5, but mostly 8. It seems like a good enough deal to me because I'd be getting off earlier, I'd be getting that extra $1, but girl, let me tell you, I did not realize how stressful being a cashier can be. Like, those freaking receipt checkers at the door be my biggest ops. A lot of, like, customers think we're, like, trying to stop them from stealing, but really, they're trying to catch the cashier for making a mistake. Making a mistake being overcharging an item, undercharging an item, double scanning, or missing an item. So you're only allowed 3 mess-ups in a 7-day period, and honestly, I think that's kind of ridiculous because you're behind the counter 5 days a week for 8 hours. And I know what you guys are thinking, just don't mess up. But it's way easier said than done, trust me. And keep in mind, in that 7-day period, you're only allowed a $100 limit to your mess up. Let me explain. So you know how you're allowed to miss 3 things or whatever? Say you miss one and that item leads up to over $100, it's automatically a write-up and you're already over your limit for the week. I'm gonna blow dry my hair and tell you guys how I messed up so badly. Any freaking ways, I kept messing up behind the register, and you are allowed to have 4 write-ups before suspension. Anyways, I had 2 write-ups on my file already because I kept messing up behind the register. One week I got like 4 audits, the next week I got maybe like 5. So I was like, okay, no more freaking audits. I'm literally stressing behind this fucking register. Like, do not mess up anymore. So I was being really careful behind the register. These hoops are in my Amazon storefront, by the way. But my next mess up, okay, was not because of like missed scans or whatever. Anyways, so the mistake I made next was really freaking stupid. So basically, a customer gave me $30 and I typed in the cash amount as $300, and for some reason I did not catch myself. I don't know what was going on that day, but I literally gave her the full like $200, whatever the change was, in cash. Whatever, I take full responsibility for that stupid mistake I made, but wow, that customer is pretty freaking evil to literally know that they gave me only $30 and you're leaving with over $200 in your hands. We did contact the member and ask them to give the money back, but usually in those cases they don't really give it back because, you know, it already says something about their character if they were to take the money in the first place. But anyways, my manager talked to me about it. For some reason, they gave me another chance. They wanted me to continue cashiering because they like me being a cashier, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on edge. If I make one more mistake, I'm gonna get suspended. So I'm literally just being super careful behind the register. I think this last week I was ringing, I got literally 1 mistake, so I was like, okay, got 2 more, the week's almost over, just make it through the week. And then I hear them say that I got a mess up, and it was my second mess up, but that amount plus my other mess up equaled over $100, so that was it. That was another write-up. I told my supervisor who was giving me the slip to sign, I literally told her, this is gonna suspend me for 3 whole days and I'm not gonna be able to cashier for like 6 months. And she was like, going too fast or what? Honestly, I take full responsibility for my mistakes. Like, what's wrong with me? But like, why'd you have to say that? And honestly, the supervisors can really just throw away the slip if they really wanted to. Like, if you really cared about my well-being, you should have. Again, not blaming her, but you know. Anyways, so I knew that write-up was going to lead to my suspension, so I was like, when are they going to give it to me? When are they going to give it to me? Because they kept making me cashier, and like, I'm just like, well, why am I still cashiering when I know I'm going to be taken off the register and I'm going to be suspended? It was really like frustrating. But they waited literally a whole week to give me the write-up and suspend me, and then they told me that I am not going to be able to cashier for 6 months, but after the 6 months is over, I can get my position back and start cashiering again. So at this point, I have 4 write-ups on my file, so I literally have to be so careful at work. I'm literally not cashiering, so I should be stress-free, right? Well, no. So you're allowed 3 tardies in a 30-day period, and one day I was late because I thought I worked at 12:30, but I did actually work at 12:15, so I was 15 minutes late, so that's one instance. But like, I'm never late, so I wasn't too worried about it. I was like, just don't be late again, like it'll drop off in 30 days. But for some reason, traffic was really bad one day. I only live like 20 to 25 minutes away from work, but I left literally 45 minutes early one day and I still was late. And I was like, now I'm getting scared because that's my second late and you're only allowed 3 before the write-up.
Get ready with me while I talk about the time I had an actually psychotic coworker that went off the rails. And as usual, I want you guys to be getting ready with me. So bookmark this video if you have to. You don't have to just get ready. You can take a shit, you can garden, you can do the dishes, you can do your laundry, you can do your skincare, whatever you want to do. As usual, we're on FaceTime. So this happened when I was working at a daycare, probably like 4 years ago at this point. But the daycare that I worked at was like also kind of a preschool as well. And at the time, I was like a co-teacher for the preschool. And we were super understaffed. Like, we literally had like no staff ever. So we were kind of just like hiring anybody. I say we, like I had any part in the hiring process, but yeah, we were super like understaffed to the point where like this was during COVID and like we couldn't even like call out if we had COVID. Like, you were expected to come in with a mask, and that was like super illegal at that point. So just for context, the way that the school was set up is like there were classrooms and there were usually 2 teachers in each classroom. And then there were floaters, and the floaters would like change classrooms every day. So there would usually be at least one teacher that was assigned to one specific classroom, and then the floaters would end up being the second teacher. And at this point in time, I'm pretty sure I was a teacher in one of the preschool classrooms, but because we were running low on floaters, we were kind of fighting for our lives a bit because we like needed second teachers, because with the state guidelines, at least where I live, like with a certain amount of kids, you need a certain amount of adults in the room. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. But guys, when I tell you, like, we were just hiring anybody. Like, we were that understaffed, like I said. And one day there was like a group of probably like 3 or 4 new people that came in. And obviously, like, I was super excited because I was like, oh, maybe I can get time off now. I mean, that didn't end up happening, but whatever. But it was just good because at the end of the day, we needed runners, which runners were basically just people that would, I guess, for lack of a better term, run the kids from the classrooms to their parents that were at the front of the school. But because we had these new people, it was like a huge weight off of my shoulders and everybody else's. We could all like breathe for a little bit, but obviously there was going to be an adjustment period of people training or whatever. For the sake of the story, I'm going to call my boss Laura, and I'm going to call the new girl, what should I call her? I'm going to call her Savannah. And the new girl Savannah started, and I think she started with us on like a staff meeting day. So like we didn't really get to see how she worked until like I think the next week. But for the first week she was there, she was completely normal. Like, we followed each other on Instagram. Like, she was really social. That's like one of the things I remember about her. But for the most part, like, she kind of just came in and like did her job, and like nobody had any complaints about her. But I don't know, I think a few days go by and she starts to show up to work, and like the best way I can describe it is like the bitch seemed tired as fuck. Like, she did not seem like she was all there. And I don't know, I mean, no one really questioned it because she was still like doing her job. I mean, not as well as she did when she had first started the first few days, but I mean, shit was still getting done. And obviously, like, she still needed help doing stuff because she was new, but I don't know. Everybody was like, kind of like, do you think that Savannah seems like weird today? Like, it was kind of like a topic of conversation because like, it seemed like she didn't want to be there, which, okay, like, I don't think anybody did, but like, also like that she was like legit about to fall asleep like the entire day. So then the next day comes and it's the same thing, but just like she seemed even more tired today and like more out of it. And like people at this point started to ask her like, girl, are you good? Like, do you feel okay? And she just kept being like, no, I'm fine. And like she would have like bursts of energy where she would act completely normal, but then like, I don't know, like 10-15 minutes later she would go back to acting like she was gonna pass out. And obviously, like, this is not good when you're in charge of taking care of children. You kind of have to be on your toes for that, especially like infants and stuff. So they kind of just started putting her like in the older kids' rooms. But even then, like, those kids get into fucking mischief. So Also, I don't know if you guys can hear, but Kiwi's taking a nasty earth-shattering shit over there in her litter box, so sorry about that. So then the next day, she comes in and she is like the worst we've seen her yet. And they had her in one of the toddler classrooms, I think. I don't remember exactly which one, but it was one of the classrooms, and like it was almost like she was going out of her way to like deliberately do everything wrong. Like the teacher would be like, "Oh, can you like get the coats on the kids?" And she would like go start cleaning shit in the bathroom. Or like the teacher would be like, "Oh, can you pass out the snack?" And she would like, I don't know, like walk into the office or like just do something she's not supposed to be doing. So now at this point, like it's now become a topic of conversation because they're like worried about her, but also they're like, what the fuck? Like, you know, like it was just good. It was getting weird. It was getting really weird. Then the director, from what I understand, came into the classroom because I wasn't in this classroom at this point. I had like my own classroom, and the director came into the classroom and like asked her if she was good, and she was like, yeah, I'm fine, and like acted like everything was normal. But anyways, then they have nap time because obviously the kids are young, they need their naps, and the bitch falls asleep, which you cannot be doing during nap time. Like you are directly, I mean, I feel like I don't need to explain that. Like you're directly responsible for keeping the kids safe. You can't be fucking falling asleep. So I think the consensus at this point was that like maybe she was sick and like needed to go home or whatever. Once again, they asked her if she was sick. She was like, no, I'm fine. And they're like, okay, whatever. The rest of the day goes by and it's now time to run the kids from their classrooms to the parents. So at this point, she kind of knows like some of the kids, but I mean, I don't blame her for not knowing most of them. So we were still like helping her and telling her where the kids were. And I was also running at this point, but then they had me go watch one of the classrooms outside. So I missed a lot of this. A lot of this was just told to me, but from what I understand at this period of time, every time they would tell her like to go get a kid, they would like obviously tell her like the name of the kid and what classroom they were in. And every single time she would come out with either the wrong kid or she wouldn't come out with any kid at all. So everyone is like, okay, now it's getting really weird. And it was just like nobody knew what the fuck was going on. So like I said, I'm outside with some of the kids on the playground and Savannah comes barreling out to the playground and just like throws herself out on the grass. And she's like, our boss, Laura, is such a bitch. And I'm like, all right, not too much, because I like Laura. So I was like, what's the problem? And she's just like, she keeps telling me to do shit, and like I keep doing what she wants, but like she keeps saying I'm doing it wrong, even though I'm doing exactly what she wants. And she's like slurring her words. So now I'm like, this girl seems like she's fucked up. Like now like the puzzle pieces are starting to like click in my head because I'm like, oh my god, this girl has to be fucked up. I don't know what she was on, but me thinks it might have been like a perks of being a wallflower situation. I can't say the actual word on TikTok, I think, because I'd like to keep my account, but you guys can figure that out. But she lays down on the grass, like I said, and after she complains to me, she just fucking falls asleep. She really knocks out. She's like legit like nodding out on the fucking turf. So now I'm weirded the fuck out. I'm like, okay, that's strange, but that is not my fucking problem. I don't get paid enough to deal with that. So I am getting one of the kids ready, and my boss comes into the classroom, and she's like, where the fuck are, well, she didn't swear, but she was like, where the fuck are, like, these twins? And I was like, I don't know. I thought they left, like they were supposed to leave, like, 20 minutes ago, right? She's like, yeah, like, Savannah was supposed to bring them out. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know. Apparently they were in the classroom the whole time. So at this point, she's like, do you know where Savannah is? I'm like, yeah, she's asleep outside on the turf. I could tell my boss, like, actually saw red. Like, so she comes out. She basically tells her to get the fuck up, and she has her, like, go and sit on the bench outside the office. And then I go home for the day. I don't think anything of it because, guys, I wanted to get the fuck out of there. But then, like, that night, I get a fucking DM from Savannah. She's like, I was unjustly fired, and I need all of you guys to go on strike. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe that I was fired for no reason, blah, 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 blah. And I'm, like, looking around like, what do you mean you were fired for no reason? Girl, you fell asleep outside and called our boss a bitch. Like, what? Like, so then I ignore that until I check our, like, company, like, WhatsApp group chat. This girl is blowing up the fucking group chat with, like, scenes from horror movies of, like, graphic, like, unalivings. like literally threatening. She's like, this is what I'm gonna do to you guys. I'm fucking Jason Voorhees. You don't know who you mess with, blah blah blah. Now I'm really fucking scared because I didn't answer her DM. I'm like watching my back, like what the fuck. She's texting, she's like, I know where all of you live in the directory, blah, 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 blah. Like, she's sending all these crazy threats to the group chat. So the owner just like removed her. And then we had like a staff meeting the next day and like no one acknowledged it. It was so weird. Everyone just acted like it didn't happen. And yeah, streets are saying she tried to show up to the school and they like called the cops on her, but I don't know if that actually happened. That might have just been a rumor. But yeah, moral of the story, don't get cracked out at your daycare job and threaten everybody. Like, just don't do that. Luckily, I've never had a coworker situation like that since, but yeah, as always, I will see you guys tomorrow. And I'm going to see Blade tomorrow, guys. I'm so excited. I can't wait. But yeah, I'm going to try and post as much as I can because I'm going on a little trip, but I love you guys so much.
To prevent me from crashing out real bad right now, I'm going to explain to you the work drama. I told y'all I wasn't going to come and explain to y'all because I'm like, oh, what if they see my TikTok? Don't care. This is my personal diary. So if you find my TikTok, you're digging and you really want to know my life. So, oh well. So, here's the tea, okay? I got hired at my daughter's school. I cook. Very simple. It works with her hours. I can't find nothing else that don't work with her schedule, okay? I have to go with what my daughter is doing. So, I work at her school. I cook. Very simple. Easy. When I got hired, okay, I got asked, do you want the management position or do you just want to be a cook? I purposely picked my daughter's school, okay, because my daughter, she's working through some things and I want to be close to her. Unfortunately, her school did not have a management position. So I'm stuck in this low-level position dealing with people above me who have issues with me, like always. People always have a fucking problem with me because I don't kiss ass and I'm blunt. And if you give me a shitty ass attitude, I give you that shitty ass attitude back. So, when I went to my orientation meeting, the topic of nails, fake nails came up, and I was told, because a question was asked, can we have French tip nails? It was made clear to my brain that we can have French tip nails, okay? So I went and got French tip nails like 2 weeks ago, okay? French tip nails. I'm thinking, in the orientation meeting, they said French tip nails, right? No, I'm mistaken. Apparently, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, I guess. So I go into work, da-da-da-da-da. The person above me comes up to me immediately, like, you can't have those. I'm like, they're already approved. Like, I wouldn't get something I think is wrong or is going to stir the pot in a workplace that is already giving me like the ick, okay? So I'm like, they're already approved. She's like, no, that's their policy. This is our policy. I'm like, what? Y'all hired me. They hired me. So how is this not the same policy? You know? All right, so these are my nails now, okay? I got them manicured. I didn't just completely have my nasty nails showing for a wedding. No, I did get them manicured. And my nails are very brittle. They break off. So she was like, I could put the powder on, shape it. She put the powder on and shaped it. Okay, this is what they look like. Manicured. Because I have a wedding to attend. Okay. I get into work today. Okay. I get into work. I didn't even get a chance to clock in. The first thing out this woman's mouth: you need to leave. You need to leave. I said, why? She said, your nails, you need to leave. I said, I took off the French tip. I got them manicured. It is a powder, but it's not paint. Like, I got them manicured and I got them shaped. Like, what's the problem now? What's the issue? Like, we don't wear gloves 24/7. What's the issue? So she's like, it's a fake tip. I'm like, in order for my nail to break off, somebody's gonna have to literally slice my finger off. Like, it's not a tip that comes off. It's not a tip. I'm telling her, it's a powder, and the lady was like, this is gonna make your nail strong. It's not gonna break off if you do, you know? So I'm telling her, I might be telling her aggressively, because I'm like, at this point, I'm sick of your shit. Like, you already have a personal issue with me because of how I came in. I get it. You feel like I'm stepping on your toes because you're not a great manager. You're not about teamwork. You're not about morale. Like, everyone walks around droopy. When I got there, everyone was like to themselves and quiet. When I got in there, I guess I was doing things that made her, feel, I don't know, weird. She had this whiteboard that one of the people I work with told me they never used. Like, for 3 weeks straight, no one ever used it. I brought some expo markers in from work, and I started doing quote of the day, because I used to do that. We used to do that at my old job, and I'm like, that is so, something to look forward to when you come in. Ooh, what's the quote of the day? I had the coworkers telling me, oh, that's so cute. Like, who did that? Da, 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 da. I took a picture of it. She sees it. The person above me, she sees it. She looks at it. She asked me, where did you get an expo marker from? I said, at home. I said, I'm extra. I brought it from home. And that's all she says about it. She walks away. And I know she felt some type of way about me doing that little thing, because the next day when I wrote my quote, she wiped it off in the morning and wrote a nasty message about inventory on it. Right? So she has this issue with me because when I got there, it seemed like she was bullying our coworkers. She was bullying our coworkers around. She was screaming. She was talking to them any type of way. And that's not me. That is not me. I'm not going to let you scream at me. I'm not going to let you bully me. It's not happening. I give the same energy back. I do. That's just what I do. And that's why a lot of times people don't like me. So I feel like when I came into work today, she was just searching. She was searching for a reason. So then, after she told me to leave, she smacked this paper down on the desk. I grabbed the paper and I left. I read the paper. It is an email between her and HR, and it's a couple. It's their conversation on here. You put the conversation of you and HR, the woman who unknowingly approved my French tips. You put her conversation in here too. So now I have to go to HR. I emailed HR, actually. She's not in the office, but I'm about to pull up. Because unknowingly, I have your side of the conversation now, where you're saying, oh, maybe she forgot. Or if she uses the excuse of nobody told her, maybe remind her of the policy. She definitely got told about the policies. No, I didn't. The problem is, you told me one thing when the rules might have been this. And now somebody's trying to cover their behind, which is unfair to me. But this is what my nails look like right now. It's Thursday. I'm scheduled for work. I told HR in the email, go ahead and let them know I'm not coming to work tomorrow because I don't have the funds to redo them. I'm out $140 because I changed them from the French tip to go to this. I'm not doing it again. It's just not, no, I'm not doing it again. So yeah, also in the email thread, the person above me had the option to send me home or not. Like, she could have kept me and just, I wear gloves 24/7 anyways. It wouldn't have mattered. She could have kept me, but the fact she has this personal thing against me, I already feel it, whatever the fact. She don't like my personality because I won't let her step on me. Like, that's basically what it is. So she had the choice of keeping me there or sending me home if it didn't affect the team, basically. Now, she chose to send me home. The kitchen is small. There's not that many workers there. There's only like 4 of us that actually work, okay? Me going home impacts, it definitely does shake up the kitchen because there's not that many of us. The people that are already in there be stressed, okay? They be stressed out. So the fact that she, I don't know, was on a power trip so bad that you sent me home when you could have just given me my written notice and kept me. I'm a worker, baby. Like, you could give me my notice and I'm not going to be walking around with a funky attitude. I'm going to work. So these are my nails. Woo! I'm not going to lie. My nails are pretty though. And yeah, if you see this, girl, don't. Please block yourself.
Hey y'all, story time on how I got a call from my job today, and they told me that if I wasn't to take down all my videos that I did at my job site that I couldn't return to work. So at about, I would say 11 a.m. this morning, I was getting missed calls from them because I was still knocked the fuck out. But anyways, I was getting missed calls from the company that I cleaned through. And I missed the call. She left a voicemail and told me to call her back before I had to be into work. So I call her back. This time, she didn't answer me. So I left a voicemail telling her to call me back. I did not have to work today. So yeah, I was busy. If I missed her call again, just to leave a voicemail and I'll get back to her. So she ends up calling right back, like literally right back. And I'm like, hey, Cassidy. I'm gonna use her name. Fuck her anyways. So I'm like, hey, I just received your call this morning. Sorry, I missed it. What's up? So she goes, oh, hi, how are you? Da, 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 da. She goes, we came up with a situation over at the job site. And she was like, there's someone that's been following you on TikTok that works there. And they said that you've been making videos throughout the building or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, okay, and like I wasn't making videos of nobody else. Nobody else was in any of my videos. Like I eat lunch and I sit there and I eat lunch. So her response was that I was to delete every video that I've made through there and to delete them and screenshot my TikTok and send it to them to prove that I deleted them. And if you want to hear more on what my response was, blow this video up and I got a part 2 for y'all, period.
I've been in the service industry for 10 years now. I've seen some things. I've said some things. I've served some things. But nothing compares to the shift that I'm about to tell you about right now. Worst shift of my life. I used to work at a big patio restaurant, big, beautiful patio restaurant, big, beautiful Instagrammable patio restaurant. Not run incredibly well, this patio restaurant, okay? I show up to my shift one Friday night. I seemed to be the only one who did so. I looked around and said, hello? Nobody else had shown up. I was missing about half my teammates. You know who else didn't show up? The food runner. Uh-oh, person who runs the food from the kitchen to your table. Nowhere to be seen. Hello? No answer. Cool. You know who did show up for their shift? A new line cook. Oh boy, how exciting. On a Friday night? She was sweet, but didn't make the cut. Chopped. Okay? So the shift begins. Since we're understaffed, I have a big section, 10 tables. Normally I have about 5, pushing it on a Friday. Okay? 10 tables to my name. I look around, I say, everything the light touches is mine. The night begins, I'm sat. Goes okay. Sat again, within 5 minutes, okay. Goes okay. 3rd table sits down. 4th table sits down. Sea level is rising. I'm going, okay, okay, okay. I'm scribbling notes from the shadows, looking around like a little demon, when all of a sudden I see a guy waving at me from across the patio. I scoot over there in my non-slips. I say, yes, sir. He goes, hi, I never do this, but my steak is a little undercooked. Do you think they could cook it a little bit more for me? I said, yeah, of course. I'm so sorry about that. I run it back to the kitchen, okay? About half a mile to the kitchen. Take it in, come back out. Someone else is waving at me from across the patio. I go, hi. They go, no, come here. I say, oh, okay. Squeak, 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 squeak. I squeak over there and I say, yeah. They say, hey, this salmon is not really cooked. I say, oh, deja vu. Okay. So I take it back to the kitchen. 8 times this happened to me that night, okay? In a 10 table section, 8 times people sent their food back to the kitchen. Is a new line cook. She was just slapping food, popping it back off. I said, what are you doing? You're killing me, Smalls. I go back out to the patio. I'm being sat with a 10 top, okay? 10 ladies at one table, all dressed in scrubs, which kind of grosses me out if I'm being honest with you, but you know, who am I to judge? Anyway, I squeak over there. I say, hi, ladies. What can I begin for you? They all order their food, okay? They're pleasant. They're celebrating life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. American, I suppose. And the night goes on. I'm running. Okay, about the 7th person had sent their food back to the kitchen when all of a sudden, a scrubbed lady walks over to me. She's carrying a roasted chicken. I look at her. She shoves the chicken into my chest. I go, she goes, this is undercooked. I look down, pink. I say, oh my. She goes, I ate half of it. I say, yeah, I see that because half of it is gone. I look at her tummy. I could still hear the chicken balking from inside. It was so raw. I say, oh. She goes, she gets really close to my face. She goes, you're going to take that off the bill, and I'm going to leave and go make myself throw up, and then we'll talk about this later. I think she thought that I had cooked the chicken for her myself. I think she thought that I had wrung the chicken's neck, plucked the chicken's feathers, slapped the chicken onto the fryer, picked the chicken back up off the fryer before it was ever cooked, and then served it to her myself. I think she was confused about how restaurants work. But anyway, I didn't have time to say all that because she scrubbed away. All of her friends are looking at me from across the patio, and I just go. I turn around, I run into the private bar, immediately start to cry. Immediately. I could barely breathe. Okay, I was having a panic attack. My manager comes in, he goes, take 3 breaths and then go back out there. I said, okay, that seems like enough breaths to continue being a human. So I do so. I go back out slowly but surely. I had to approach that table of ladies. I really didn't want to, but somebody had to pay. So I walk over to them. I say, hey, ladies, how's your food? Quietly. They all look at me. I say, is your friend okay? They go, no, she's throwing up. I say, oh, I wish I could do the same. They didn't laugh. Anyway, we comped their food. So no money off that table, which is funny because when you comp a big check like that, I actually end up having to pay the restaurant. But that's, neither here nor there. Anyway, the rest of the night went swimmingly. And I never saw that line cook again. She left and never returned. Jealous.